Well, hello there, dear one. This is Katrina. In this video, we are talking about fear. Why? Because fear may not be the boss of you. Yes and amen? Amen. So yesterday I was reading to my son out of his devotional book, and it was so relevant to today. I mean, God is always like that, whether it's with us, with our children, every one of his children, he cares for and he speaks to us. And so his devotion was all about fear. And it was so evident that, so often we can allow our fears to be so big, too big, where God then becomes too small. If our fears are overtaking our mind, it means that for the moment or for the day or for the season, whatever it may be, that fear has gotten bigger and we've allowed God to become smaller. And when that happens, then we are going to be overcome with fear. And when we're overcome with fear, guess what? We're going to act that way. We're going to behave that way. We're going to fret. We're going to procrastinate. We're going to eat. We're going to do the things that are just not in alignment with who we really are. And so we must deal with fear. And fear right now can absolutely come and go for me. I don't know about you. So fear can come and go in my day. So I can be going along just fine. And then all of a sudden, I just start getting really overcome with it, right? My mind begins to wander and I begin to go off to all of these fears. And so listen, fear is not a new thing to me. Just because we're in the middle of a pandemic does not mean that fear is a new feeling for me. You either, this is not something new. Let's just be honest. If we're coming into a pandemic and we're having fear bubble up, most likely we've had fear problems before. And I will tell you, I've had fear problems going into the pandemic. And it was just different fears, right? Our brain's always looking for something to fear because listen, this is what our nature is. And our enemy wants us to fear because as soon as we fear, then our fears become bigger than our God. And God has become very small. So let me just share a couple of the scriptures that came in this devotion I was reading to my son yesterday. Such a good word from the Lord. Matthew 10:28, it says, "And do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both the soul and body in hell." So, don't fear your fears, fear God, right? Be in awe of God, make him so big that he becomes our fear. We fear him in a righteous way, and our fears become small. Psalms 56:3, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." That's a simple one. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. So when the fear bubbles up, let's immediately go to God with this verse upon our mouth. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Or how about Isaiah 41:10? "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Yes and amen. Do not allow your fears to become bigger than your God. He is a God who is capable of destroying all of the things that we are afraid of. He is capable of strengthening us, giving us what we need, giving us hope, and keeping us in right standing with him. Amen. Amen. All right. So listen, I want to share something with you. Today was a very exciting day for me because I have a dear friend who is launching a book, and her book got released today. Do you want to know what the name of her book is? Fear is not the boss of you. Fear is not the boss of you. Hello, could this not be a better title to a book right now? My friend's name is Jennifer Allwood, and her book just came out today. But here's what's crazy is Jen, she actually wrote this book last year. So she finished it up in the fall, and she sent it off to publisher. The publisher is Zondervan, and she sent it off. And she had no idea that we were going to be in a pandemic right now. And that we were going to have not just a viral pandemic, but that we were going to have also a fear pandemic. And so I just, how, like, she didn't know, but God did, right? And so her book title, before the pandemic even came out, I knew about her book title. And I will tell you that just the book title alone has helped me. And I was talking with her about it. I'm like, your book title just keeps flowing over and over in my mind as I'm facing these fears, these giants that I'm facing in the promised land. I'm facing these giants, and I'm just afraid. And so I'm like, fear is not the boss of you. So it's become a mantra in my mind. And I want to encourage you, I'm going to put this in the comments. I'm going to encourage you to go grab her book, because it is for, I'm going to read to you a little bit from it right now. And I really would love for us to support her, because like launching a book during a pandemic, during a crisis, not the best time, but God, guess what? Like, God's not surprised by the timing. And so this book, I'm going to pick it up. Fear is Not the Boss of You by Jennifer Allwood. This book is for any woman who has ever been overwhelmed with indecision, paralyzed with fear, or just plain stuck. She provides biblical truth and a loving kick in the backside when it's needed that's going to catapult us into action. Yes, it's all about action. Like, let's get ourselves out of our own way so that we can go and do and be all that God has called us to. And so often fear keeps us stuck. Fear and staying in fear and not taking action keeps us safe. And God often calls us out into the waters, to the place of the unknown, to a place where it doesn't seem safe. But if God is calling you there, then we must deal with fear. We must get unstuck, and we must move forward so that we can fulfill our God-given purpose. And that's what Jennifer is doing here. And so because she's a friend, I've listened to her for a long time, and her voice is just so incredible throughout this entire book. It's like she's sitting here next to me. I hear her voice as she's speaking the words on the pages. I just hear her voice in my head, and she is just a breath of fresh air. She's so transparent, so vulnerable, but yet has such practical wisdom for us to apply. And so I just want to encourage you to go out, support her, and get her book, but then also let it be a blessing to you as you seek to not let fear become the boss of you. Yes and amen. Let this mantra go on in your head today. Fear is not the boss of you. You go to jenniferallwood.com/book. Jennifer Allwood. I'll put that right here in the links here. Let me grab that for you. Good question. There we go. Pop it right here in the comments. And yes, go check her out. She has some gifts too for those who buy a copy, and she has the audiobook already out and everything. And she reads it, so she's great, and so she's a great friend.